Hi, today we're going to be talking about the four most unlikely causes of Candida. This is 10, but there's only going to be four, okay? So the first one, you may not realize this, but most naturopaths are correctly taught that heavy metal toxicity, heavy metals is not necessarily the rock and roll bands that you're thinking of, but heavy metals are chemicals that we're exposed to that are in our environment. For example, in the water, often there'll be lead in different cities throughout the country, about 20 or 25 cities throughout the country. They've done a lot of articles on that have been in a lot of newspapers. Other sources of heavy metals could be like if a light bulb explodes, sometimes there's cadmium in the light bulb. Using aluminum cookware or aluminum tin foil exposes us to aluminum. Having silver fillings in our teeth exposes us to heavy metals that we can, that are in our teeth, like silver and mercury. It's not necessarily the weight of the metal that's important, it's the damage that it does to the body. The term heavy metals is a term that's loosely used to refer to any metal that causes problems to our body. So be careful of the heavy metals. The other thing that we want to consider is antibiotics. You've heard about that, and you've heard correctly that antibiotics can indeed and often will interfere with our health because they're antibiotics, okay? So anti means against, and bios or biotic means life. So antibiotics are against life. So they're killing the bad bacteria, okay? Well, they're actually supposed to, they don't really work very well. It's one of the problems, okay, with an antibiotic. So I don't know why they have antibiotics that don't work well. But yeah, they're supposed to get rid of infections like bacterial and other types of infections, sometimes parasitic infections, but they just don't work. The body, the infective agent, the pathogen will mutate, and then the mutation tricks the antibiotic. So the antibiotic doesn't really destroy the mutated microbe. It only destroys the microbe for which it was originally designed. But since the microbes are constantly mutating, they don't tend to work too well. So there was an article that came out about, it's already been like 20 years ago, called The End of Antibiotics. I think it was in Time magazine. So, if you feel like going to your library or going onto the internet and searching for that article, The End of Antibiotics, you're welcome to do that. Not a bad idea. Okay. The other thing is, let's say you're living in a moldy environment, right? So your home has mold in it. I don't know if you've heard my personal story or not. Excuse me, I just got a little itch in my eye here. Actually, itchy eyes is one of the common symptoms of somebody who has a mold, yeast, fungus, or candida infection. This is not meant to be a joke right now. I'm actually serious. Okay, let me just drink a little water. So itchy eyes is just a symptom. But if you're living in a moldy environment, let's just say you're on the first floor of a building in a humid area like Chattanooga, Tennessee, or whatever, somewhere in the Mississippi or in Northern California, let's just say, and Fairfax is a town in Marin County, or in San Francisco, or just anywhere where it's really humid, there's a good chance that mold spores can develop if moisture gets inside the building. And when mold spores develop and moisture's inside the building, you get exposed to the mold, okay? And it's a pathogen. It causes lots and lots of health problems. Some of the health problems it causes are cloudy thinking, gas, constipation, diarrhea, and bloating. It can cause neurologic problems like pains and aches in the low back. It can cause numbness and tingling in the feet. It can cause asthma or other lung conditions like bronchitis, as an example, okay? So it's kind of nasty stuff. I mean, it can be really, really serious. It can cause visual distortions, I think you're starting to get the idea just by the way I'm explaining it. So that's a thing that can cause Candida. You want to be careful of your environment. You can always call a mold inspector and have them come in, a really good lab that does these mold inspections. It's actually, the mold inspector is a professional. It's a person who comes to your home or your property or whatever, and then they do an indoor air quality, an IAQ assessment. And they'll assess your home for how many microbes, the mold content in the air, in the parts per million or parts per billion per cubic foot of air. Okay? So it's a machine actually that they have that'll do that. So yeah, I know a lot about this because, as you know, I was exposed to mold for over 6 years, twice, or actually it was in, 2 places that I lived in 3 office buildings that I was, 2 office buildings that I was in, but I was in them for a while and then I moved and now I'm here and this place is great. But anyway, so for 6 years I had mold in my car, mold in my gym, mold in my home, mold in the office space that I was working in. It was just it wasn't cool. It wasn't cool. It was bad. Okay, it's terrible. So be careful about being in a moldy environment. The last thing we're going to talk about is sugar. That's probably the most likely thing you've already heard about, is that sugar leads to mold yeast, fungus, and or Candida. Mainly we're talking about Candida. And so the thing that I want to focus on right now with you while you're watching is juice as an example. So juice would be like, fruit juice, right? So like orange juice, apple juice, pear juice, whatever kind of juice you're talking about, carrot juice. So it would be either a fruit juice or vegetable juice. That's fresh, not one that's pasteurized necessarily. I mean, it may be pasteurized, that's fine, but in general, a fresh juice from a vegetable or a fruit. So if it's a soup, that's different. That's been heated, and it's a different thing. We're not talking about that. We're just talking about the fresh juices. The fresh juices are way, way too alkaline, okay? So this high amount of alkalinity creates a more alkaline environment in your digestive tract, and that alkaline environment in your digestive tract is a friendly environment for mold, yeast, fungus, and Candida to flourish. So you don't want to have an overly alkaline digestive tract. In medicine, in pathology, this metabolic disease is called alkalosis. When you're too alkaline, it creates a situation where you're more likely to have opportunistic infections. Opportunistic infections means infections that thrive in an environment where the person's immune system has been compromised. So you really are only supposed to be able to have a opportunistic infection if you have a compromised immune system. So believe it or not, you may not believe what I'm saying. It's okay if you don't believe me, it's true. Candida is indeed considered to be an opportunistic infection. I know it's common, a lot of people have Candida. It's more common that people have Candida at some point in their life than that they don't. And yet still, it actually is considered, according to medicine, to be, at least to some extent, an opportunistic infection, meaning you really only tend to get Candida if your immune system has been compromised. We know about the antibiotics. We were just talking about that. So you get the idea. So those would be like, you know what an antibiotic is, right? If you don't, just look it up on the internet. Just check it out. Just go to Google, type in antibiotic, definition or whatever, and then you can read all about it. But yeah, I'm assuming that you've heard about antibiotics before. They also have these different antibiotics they used to give people. I guess it's called the Z-Pack. Have you heard of this? The Z-Pack is like a bunch of different antibiotics that they give you when you have too many infections, and then it's supposed to help you to have fewer infections. The truth is it works, but you're really screwing up your immune system. You mess up all your friendly bacteria in your gut, which is your immune system. The greatest amount of immune cells are located in the digestive tract, okay? Primarily in the small intestine and to some extent the large intestine. It's true you have a huge amount of your immune system in other parts of the body as well. The lymphatic areas throughout your whole body, and on the insides of your thighs and whatnot. But really, the largest amount of mucoid-associated lymphatic tissue and gut-associated lymphatic tissue is surrounding the digestive tract. Yes, my name is Dr. Ilya Skolnikov. I'm excited to have brought you this really valuable information. Please like our Facebook page if you haven't done it already. We're called Triad of Health Family Healing Center. You could also maybe find us at One Stop Pain Doc on Facebook. And check out our YouTube channel. If you're watching this on YouTube, then you're probably on it. But yeah, definitely like our YouTube channel. We're also called Triad of Health Family Healing Center. On Instagram, we're Triad of Health. That's our handle, Triad of Health, TriadofHealth. So thank you so much. Again, I'm excited to have brought you this information. My name is Dr. Ilya Skolnikov. Talk to you soon.